Breeders are still in charge. Yeah, that's always going to be the case and should be the case. Genomics or use of genomic tools is simply another tool in the breeder's toolbox, whether you're looking at improved phenotyping technologies, application of genomics, or you're looking at things like doubled haploids, way of accelerating the development of inbred materials. They're all tools that can and should be applied in different ways, but the breeder is the person who should still be in the driving seat of crop development. There are issues of some technologies being left on the shelf because breeders don't have the enabling tools and capacity to use those technologies. This is even more applicable in the national systems and with many of the partners we work with. If you're looking at relative terms of investment, we need to invest in those technologies that better enable breeders to make selections and accelerate breeding gains. That may be the application of genomics in some crops. It may be the application of things like doubled haploids in other crops. We need to be able to tailor the investment, and the breeder should be partly in the driving seat of really looking at that level of investment and where you get the best payoff. It depends very much on what trait, what variability you already have for that trait, the ease of selecting for that trait. So you may have a situation where you have very costly phenotyping, you may have a complex trait. There I would tend to invest more in genomic assisted breeding technologies. If you've got a very simple trait, it's very cheap to phenotype, there isn't always the drive to invest in genomics in that case. So really it's a question of what sources are available to you already in terms of genes available, what is the complexity of the trait. So for a very complex trait that's costly to phenotype, I would invest relatively more than for a very simple trait where you already have reasonable genetic variation. There are already varieties available that have been developed by many of the multinationals where you see products of genomics assisted research that are in farmers' fields already. Coming from the CG systems, there are materials already being made available to breeders so that they can start to use them in their crop development pipelines. So I would expect within the next 3 to 5 years you're starting to see those varieties coming down to the national evaluations and then into farmers' fields.